This course is about conditional statements, but first you need to understand what is exactly a statement. So simple code lines in your programs are instructions. You instruct Python to do something specific. For example, I have this assignment, and with this code line, you instruct Python to assign 4 to a variable named a. So this is a statement. Your code consists of statements. Here's another statement. This one is a conditional statement. As a beginner, you quickly reach a point when you'd like to do more with your programs. Until now, you wrote statements one right after another, which is a linear path of execution. To work with a more complex logic, you can control the flow of logic in your code through various methods, such as an if statement. In other words, you probably want to make decisions based on some conditions. With this example, I would like to decide the weather is warm or cold. So we have this code here. I created a variable temperature and I just print this statement. So the weather is warm based on the value of the temperature, which is in Celsius. But now I'd like to make a decision based on the current temperature, and from that I would like to print the weather is warm or the weather is cold. So first, let's delete this thing and check the form of an if statement. Which looks like this. So what we have here, we have the if keyword, we have some kind of condition, it's evaluated as a boolean, it can be either true or false. And we have one or more statements, one or more code lines with indentation. So we can start to write our very first if statement, and the task is to decide whether it's cold or warm. For this task, I would need a temperature variable, and I will set it to 20 Celsius for now. The form of the if statement is this. So if the condition is, I would say, if the temperature is greater than or equal 18, the weather is warm. Print the weather is warm. Okay, let's check it out. And it works. What if I set it to 18? It still works. What if I set it to 10? I would say this is a cold weather in Celsius, and it doesn't show anything. So I would need another if statement. What if temperature is below 18? So temperature is less than 18. And as I mentioned, in this case, I would say weather is cold. And it says the weather is cold. Another fundamental concept is the indentation. Displacement of white spaces on the left of my code line. Generally, 4 spaces are used for indentation in Python. Indentation is mandatory in Python. With indentation, Python knows the beginning and the end of each code blocks. Okay, but what is a code block? A block is one statement or more than one statements which are grouped together. In this example, this is a code block. If I put another line here, this is a code block because this line has an indentation and this line has the same indentation as this one. It's on level 1. If I put another line here, this is a code block as well, but this is another code block. These two have different indentations. If I run this code, it should run correctly. In other languages, such as C#, code blocks are between curly braces. But in Python, code blocks created by indentations. So in C#, it would look like something like this. And in this case, just as in the previous example, this is the code block, and this one is another code block. But in Python, it's not a thing. Python uses indentation. So in Python, a code block starts with an indentation and ends with the first unindented line. Just this one. You can make as many indentations as you want. And with nested if statements, we can have a great example. So what we have here, we have a temperature variable, which is 20 Celsius, and we have an if statement, which says if the temperature is greater than or equal 18, print out the weather is okay. With nested if statements, I would like to put another check here. If the temperature is greater than or equal 18, I would like to put another if statement. If the temperature is greater than 30, I would like to print out the weather is warm. So if temperature is greater than 30, the weather is warm. In this case, temperature is 20, so it's less than 30, we shouldn't reach this code line here. Let's see. Yes, the weather is okay. Here is our weather icon. But if I change this to 31, it also says the weather is warm. This one is a code block, just as this one. Here's a code block, and this one is a whole code block. We already know the simple if statement form. Now we have the else block as well. So the if-else statement evaluates the condition, and when the condition is true, it evaluates the if code block, the statements, else it evaluates the else code block. So when the if condition is false, it evaluates the else code block. You can understand it through a sample code. If the temperature is greater than or equal 18, the weather is warm. And I'd like to say else. I would say if it's less than 18, it's cold. The weather is cold. Now, the temperature value is 20. It should say the weather is warm. If I change this to less than 18, for example 17, we should go through this code block, and that is correct. The weather is cold. ELIF is short for else if. It allows you to make multiple checks. The code what we have here is about a temperature value set to 40. We have a condition, an if statement. If the temperature is greater than or equal to 30, the weather is warm, else the weather is cold. So, with an ELIF statement, I would like to create another checks, else if the temperature is greater than 20, I would say it's pretty okay. But if temperature is only greater than 10, in this case, it's pretty bad. So this is the form of the ELIF statement, the ELIF keyword, the condition, and the code block. Of course, here you can use multiple statements, multiple code lines as well. Let's run this code. The temperature is 40, so the weather is warm. If I change the temperature to 25, for example, the weather is pretty good, still pretty good. If I change this to 13, now it's kind of bad, and around 5 Celsius, it's cold. So an important thing here, checks go from top to bottom. The first true evaluation is executed. So if I change this to 40, this first code line is evaluated and it is true immediately. So the checks stop here and it prints out the weather is warm. If all conditions are false, if I change this to 3, in this case, all these conditions will be false. In this case, else code block is executed. That's all for now. I hope I will see you in the next lesson.